Elizabeth II Charles, Prince of Wales Elizabeth II Boris Johnson Dominic Raab Elizabeth II the Lord Fowler Sir Lindsay Hoyle Sir Keir Starmer Supreme Court the Lord Reid the Lord Hodge Andrew Bailey Monetary Policy Committee The Bank of England is the central bank of the United Kingdom and the model on which most modern central banks have been based. Established in 1694 to act as the English government's banker, and still one of the bankers for the government of the United Kingdom. It is the world's eighth oldest bank. It was privately owned by stockholders from its foundation in 1694 until it was nationalized in 1946 by the Attlee Ministry. In 2009, a request made to Hum Treasury under the Freedom of Information Act sought details about the 3% Bank of England stock owned by unnamed shareholders whose identity the bank is not at liberty to disclose. In a letter of reply dated the 15th of October 2009, Hum Treasury explained that some of the 3% treasury stock which was used to compensate former owners of bank stock has not been redeemed. However, interest is paid out twice a year and it is not the case that this has been accumulating and compounding. The bank became an independent public organization in 1998, wholly owned by the Treasury Solicitor on behalf of the government, but with independence in setting monetary policy. The bank is one of 8 banks authorized to issue banknotes in the United Kingdom, has a monopoly on the issue of banknotes in England and Wales and regulates the issue of banknotes by commercial banks in Scotland and Northern Ireland. The bank's Monetary Policy Committee has a devolved responsibility for managing monetary policy. The Treasury has reserve powers to give orders to the committee, if they are required in the public interest and by extreme economic circumstances. But such orders must be endorsed by Parliament within 28 days. The bank's Financial Policy Committee held its first meeting in June 2011 as a macroprudential regulator to oversee regulation of the UK's financial sector. The bank's headquarters have been in London's main financial district, the City of London, on Threadneedle Street, since 1734. It is sometimes known as the Old Lady of Threadneedle Street, a name taken from a satirical cartoon by James Gilray in 1797. The road junction outside is known as Bank Junction. As a regulator and central bank, the Bank of England has not offered consumer banking services for many years. But it still does manage some public-facing services such as exchanging superseded bank notes. Until 2016, the bank provided personal banking services as a privilege for employees. England's crushing defeat by France, the dominant naval power, in naval engagements culminating in the 1690 Battle of Beachy Head, became the catalyst for England to rebuild itself as a global power. William III's government wanted to build a naval fleet that would rival that of France. However, the ability to construct this fleet was hampered both by a lack of available public funds and the low credit of the English government in London. This lack of credit made it impossible for the English government to borrow the £1,200,000 that it wanted for the construction of the fleet. To induce subscription to the loan, the subscribers were to be incorporated by the name of the Governor and Company of the Bank of England. The bank was given exclusive possession of the government's balances, and was the only limited liability corporation allowed to issue bank notes. The lenders would give the government cash and issue notes against the government bonds, which can be lent again. The £1.2 million was raised in 12 days. Half of this was used to rebuild the navy. As a side effect, the huge industrial effort needed, including establishing ironworks to make more nails and advances in agriculture feeding the quadrupled strength of the navy, started to transform the economy. This helped the new Kingdom of Great Britain. England and Scotland were formally united in 1707. To become powerful, the power of the navy made Britain the dominant world power in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. The establishment of the bank was devised by Charles Montague, 1st Earl of Halifax, in 1694. The plan of 1691, which had been proposed by William Paterson 3 years before, had not then been acted upon. 58 years earlier, in 1636, financier to the king, Philip Burlamachi, had proposed exactly the same idea in a letter addressed to Sir Francis Windebank. He proposed a loan of £1.2 million to the government. In return, the subscribers would be incorporated as the Governor and Company of the Bank of England, with long-term banking privileges including the issue of notes. The Royal Charter was granted on the 27th of July through the passage of the Tonnage Act 1694. Public finances were in such dire condition at the time that the terms of the loan were that it was to be serviced at a rate of 8% per annum. And there was also a service charge of £4,000 per annum for